Claire, you're an awful person.
Maybe, but I'm rich and I'm pretty, so it doesn't really matter.
Look at yourself in the mirror. They don't want ugly girls for the lead role.
Look, Max, to get all the men on their knees for you.
Well, all this may just be a tactic or some mean girls and societal standards, but
Pretty privilege is definitely real.
hello. Welcome to Gooseberry. This is your host, Sonia, and I'm here with my partner in podcast, Nidhi.
Hi.
So, pretty privilege, huh? How does it even work?
Well, pretty privilege works on the principle that people who are deemed more attractive based on the accepted societal standards, beauty standards, of course, have an upper hand in the world and are afforded many opportunities that us regular folks don't have.
Okay, so now that we've explained this a bit, before we get into the discussion, let's have a quick story time with Reddit, shall we? Like just to spice things up a little bit.
Yes. Okay, so the first story, this was from the subreddit r/Delhi. The question here was, have you ever seen pretty privilege at play in real life? There were many comments on this subreddit, on this thread, but there was one comment that stood out to me. Um, it it like literally blew my mind off. Like what? So this is a comment made by bugging404. Hi, I am a newbie therapist looking for a similar job roles. A very popular company had an opening and people were asking around for reviews. Turns out the company had an appearance bias and only hire rich looking therapists. I had applied to them and I received an automated mail asking to send a 2 minutes video. This was very different to me since most companies just have interviews, mock sessions, or assessment. But after reading the review, it all made sense. Oh my god. I
This
can't
blew our mind the most.
I can't even decode this because I was like, what? Huh? Huh? Like the hell with your degrees. 10 years, 6 years for your degree, down the drain. You need to be rich looking. Also, what the hell does rich looking mean?
It's so out of pocket. That's the most out of pocket thing you can say when hiring someone. Oh my God, you don't look rich according to us, so rejected. Excuse me.
Also, from a client centered perspective, I think you want your therapist to be someone that you can relate to someone who you can feel comfortable to. I don't think I would be comfortable with a person who is rich looking, quote unquote.
Okay,
Like,
like you can't relate to them, and because you can't relate to them, you tend to take their advice more like lightly and like हाँ हवे में बोल रहा है because it's like oh rich person अमीर लोगों के चोचले I am not going to listen to this guy. He probably doesn't even know what he's talking about because our problems are very different.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I would get if there was some dress code or like a particular way you're supposed to dress or something. But rich
Yeah, like
looking,
formals.
yeah, since now Sonia and me, our main goal should be no, not to score well in psychology or to be rich looking.
Yeah, you're gonna buy all of the fakes from the from the street markets. We are like
The
नाइकी है हाँ बताओ बताओ
do I,
कितने का है
yeah,
अरे वाह ठीक है दे दो दे दो
do I look rich? Like what the
yeah
hell, yeah.
we'll be checking each other and being like do I look rich today, are you sure I'm going for this very popular company that wants me to be rich
Yeah,
looking.
and also it's more amusing that it is a very popular company, okay? So that means it's
Exactly.
mainstream, okay? And that makes you wonder how many therapists over there are actually eligible or they're just there because they look rich. They're just rich
Yeah.
looking.
Also, imagine being a mainstream company and just to maintain your image or whatever the hell you are asking for, you are getting people to look rich looking. So you don't know how you don't care about how qualified they are. You care about the clothes that they're wearing and how they carry themselves, which is, see, carrying themselves understandable, but the way they look,
Yeah.
uh,
Also, getting by that it is a company, I am assuming that it must be a online site, because like I don't think there are companies that
or it
specific.
might just be like a position for like an
Yeah,
industrial psychologist or something,
yeah,
maybe HR
maybe.
work or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But that person said they are a therapist, not a industrial psychologist or something. Therapist might
So
be
if there are,
who works one to one with the
I
client.
think I know what you're thinking about.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh, this was just, bro. Okay. So this story aside, Sonia, can you read your story?
Yep. So on to the second one. This one is from the subreddit r/pretty privilege. Just the subreddit says it all, bro. It's the story by AG Charms underscore studios. Pretty privilege is a fucking curse. Hi. So I'm currently in middle school. I have always gotten pretty privilege even before I reached sixth grade, which is now. From as long as I could remember, like when I go to a gas station, I rarely have to pay. An almond joy could be $1.25. I'll end up paying nothing. Or going to a snow cone place, I will walk away without paying. Getting my nails done, food, nothing. I've gotten compliments for just walking on the street. Sounds good, right? Well, until you meet a fucking jealous girl. A girl called me a slut in my class, even though we are in the sixth grade and I'm a virgin. I went to the Houston rodeo with one of those tight shirts, a normal one that isn't a crop top. So here I think it's like a compression shirt that you wear to the gym sometimes, and a jean skirt, so a denim skirt that went up to my knees. A grown woman came to me in the bathroom and said, "You're going to be a little slut. Where is your mother?" I told her, "What is she talking about?" Because my outfit covered everything. She said, "You're walking around strutting your junk. You're like a grown woman. Your mother should be ashamed." What? I'm here for the fucking food. Calm down. It doesn't help. I'm already developing. I've even gotten catcalled. Pretty privilege is a curse. I'm scared that one day I'll bump into the wrong guy who takes my looks as an invitation. You don't want this. The food is nice and the free stuff, but there's always a hidden detail in the contract, right?
Oh my God. First of all, a grown fucking woman, and just by the look,
Biggest problem.
yeah, and by the looks of it, she said she's in sixth grade, right? So I'm assuming she's 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah, 12 at max.
Can you imagine you're walking on the street and you are in the washroom and you see a child and just call her a slut? Like, what the hell? What is
And
wrong?
from the girl's perspective, it's like probably someone that's around her mother's age or maybe younger also,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe
mean,
older. Bro, if she's older, it makes it worse.
exactly. I mean, for her classmate, it can be excused. Not that I'm saying it's acceptable, but teenage girls, um, they're just typical mean girls, and I hope that girl grows out of that and later on, just understand it. But
Yeah.
a grown woman, what is she saying? Like, imagine you're out there just for the food, and someone is saying, "Oh, you look like a slut." Oh my God, I literally said "slut" instead of "slut." See, even my mind cannot fathom saying "slut." And starting like the junk. Like, what is wrong with you? I mean, it's so sad, for her. Like, she's like not even 13 yet, and she has to go through all this.
She's already overly sexualized.
Exactly. There was a particular comment on this. Um, the username was completely present. Okay, every advantage is like that. Too much intelligence often leads to depression. Too much money leads to a bad situation with family. However, you have to know that it's far better than the opposite. Would you rather be a girl who no one wants to talk to? It's more like an X-Men where your great power is actually a great curse, unless you learn to use it effectively. Okay, so this comment was pretty mature and all, but for me, it sounded thoda hypocritical and also thoda sad because it's like कि
Yeah.
you you rather get slut shamed and bullied and catcalled than than not look pretty, than not have privilege for and like be a girl who no one wants. Like that is so sad that huh? Like
Yeah, I agree. Also, the part where you said that it is hypocritical and sad is because, like, okay, I get that I have advantages and everything. And her, especially the line in her post where she's like, every contract has a hidden detail, right? That means she already understood what it was like. Also, the other comments under this post were
they
like
were
pathetic.
yeah, they were pretty insensitive. Like I get what
Yeah,
you're trying to say, but she doesn't need to hear that. She knows what she's talking about. She's not saying she's aware of the privilege that she has, but she's just ranting here because she's 11 and she wants to rant to someone. So, that was just a little, quick session of just us reading some Reddit story because we wanted to give a little background and just instead of, giving our real life incidents, why not just use Reddit? Um, now,
Reddit is fun.
yeah, it's so crazy if you like, okay, if you don't know me, I cannot sleep without listening to some podcast. And generally, the podcast is like true crime. Okay.
Yeah, oh my God.
And after some time, it gets very heavy. So I need to listen to something that is not that heavy. So what do? I listen to people
Reddit.
reading Reddit stories and I go to sleep. Okay.
So now that we've got into like two stories and a perspective of like a grown woman and then a younger or like a tween girl, bro, she's not even a teen yet, a
Yeah.
tween girl. So Nidhi, do you think pretty privilege is real? Because like there are some people who think pretty privilege is not real. So
Okay. Let's be really frank. Being pretty has its privileges. If there were none, no one would strive so hard to look pretty, to get all those surgeries, and the look maxing trend that is currently going on.
yeah,
Because imagine if uh being pretty or being considered a gorgeous or good looking from the societal perspective didn't have any benefits or privileges that comes with it, people won't be working so hard for it. Like we work for a job because we know we're gonna get money for that, and money is useful. We study
exactly.
because we know studying has some benefits to it. If there were none, no one would like to study. It's same
Some
with
people, heck, some people also just study so that they get a degree and they can get on with their
yeah,
life. So
because
it's
they
like it's a necessity.
yeah, it has benefits with it. And so with pretty privilege. Being pretty has its benefit, being pretty has its privileges, and you are lying if you say that pretty privilege doesn't exist because that you're like literally saying like, oh, you're just completely degrading and demeaning the value of a pretty person because like
Also, it's either it's you can only be one of two people. You're someone who has pretty privilege and you don't want to accept it if you say pretty privilege is not real, or you're someone who doesn't have pretty privilege and you don't like that other people have it. That's the only reason why you would be denying that pretty privilege is real.
exactly. Because why do you think people get all these surgeries? Why do you think people spend so much money on cosmetics? Because
Some people say that it's for themselves, and quite a few of them mean it. Like a lot of women these days, they've been doing stuff because they like to look at themselves in the mirror and like actually like what they're seeing in the mirror. But that's where pretty privilege is. You want to look pretty, you want to look a certain way to be called pretty, but you don't realize that there's actually nothing wrong with you right now.
exactly.
You're still pretty. You're just not pretty according to societal standards. So that's why you sort of get into this whole thing and then it starts hijacking your mind.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Before we get very deep into this conversation, while uh when we brought this topic up about pretty privileges, we saw many people saying that pretty privilege only benefits women or the girls. Being pretty only has its privileges when it comes to women, being a woman. Um, I heavily disagree with that. Even Sonia does. Um, because it's like, see, the men, the boys also have pretty privileges. We just call it, he's
Yeah.
not a creep. He's just a nice guy. He's hopelessly in love guy syndrome. Okay?
Like when, like, for example, to put it into perspective, if someone who you find attractive or in general is just conventionally attractive, and if he does something that is like more than just
Borderline.
borderline creepy,
Yeah,
you won't really you won't really analyze it as much, and you probably won't even say that he's being a creep because he looks good, so you're like, oh, he's just being a nice guy, he's being like gentlemanly, I think he has a thing for me. No, he doesn't. But the moment it is someone who is like less than the average attractiveness level, or just not as attractive as you like someone to be, and even if he just like by mistake while looking around in his surroundings you lock eyes with that person, you'll be like, oh my god, he's staring at me, like, creep. What?
exactly. And this was like real life. But TikTok, Instagram, and movie villains, these are the
Yeah.
most prominent example when it comes to having pretty privileges. Because, bro, have you seen the content that these men are putting on TikTok and Instagram? Oh, don't let's not even talk about.
Food porn.
Oh my God,
Oh
let's
my
not
god.
talk about that. Even just thinking about that does something to me. And
It's so yuck.
yeah, and I find it so weird that people find it attractive. Like, what about that is attractive? And
He, especially when they are like doing the prep portion of the cooking, like not the actual cooking, the prep portion of the
yeah,
cooking where they might be like prepping the meat or something. Yuck. I hate watching the
yeah,
I had come across one reel on my feed and I reported it. I remember
and
reporting
yeah,
it.
even with all those people creating thirst traps and cringy videos, um, if they are pretty, people will be simping in the comments and all. But if a average looking person did that, you would bully the hell out of that guy, literally. You won't even follow him, you would just fucking bully it. But if
You report the account,
yeah,
cancel him
you
on
will
whatever social
yeah, you
media.
will call him cringe, but if a good looking man is saying, step on me, shut up.
Yeah.
Um Also movie villains. I hate. Okay, when it comes to making movie villain attractive, I think people the point of making the movie villain attractive, I don't think the reason they do it is because they want to show like, oh, attractive people can also be bad people. But this point literally flows over the mind of people, okay? I don't
I would
care.
swear.
Yeah, I don't care if he's a mass murderer. At least he's hot. Yeah, what is that
Yeah,
hot?
like how, but
That
it blows my mind how they are like, oh my God, like, how do you like your men? First of all, really weird question to be asking.
yeah.
Second of all, people answer with morally gray.
What is more?
Book talk, what are
Oh
you
my.
doing?
Yeah, morally gray.
Morally
You don't
gray.
you don't want a morally gray man when you're old and gray, okay? That man is going to kill you. You you would get abused, okay? It's not funny. And the way people just romanticize this shit because some guy who is playing that character is hot as hell. Like, ah,
Yeah, like Meadows, baby. Our last name is Meadows. Date Meadows, bro. And his gun. Oh my.
so many
Everyone
people are
going
going to.
crazy over one scene.
Yeah,
My God, my Instagram reel had become fully book talk by mistake. One, I don't even know how it began. Okay, and I had to keep pressing not interested on everything. But every time I went to the comments to see how people are enjoying such stuff, my goodness, I regretted opening the comments every damn time.
exactly. And okay, let if you're someone who is not into K-drama like Sonia, um,
I'm not into K-drama. I've not watched any in like a year.
yeah, okay. But Um, there was a particular drama that was, going on, and in the drama there was a particular actor who played the villain's role. Okay, but that actor is like very attractive. He's very um by the mass, let's use the word that mass media uses, hot, handsome, you get it, okay? um Cutie patootie, yes. um and so obviously he's a bad guy in the drama, and bad guys get bad ending, okay? The people were so angry, and they wanted the female lead to end up with this guy because he is hotter than the main lead. And they're like, oh, they have more chemistry. They don't have chemistry. I've seen the drama, okay? And they're like, no, but it doesn't matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter? He literally tried to murder the main lead's mother. And you're like, yeah, but he had a bad childhood. Um,
You
okay,
can't use trauma to justify people's behavior, first of
yeah,
all. Please do not fall into that trap. It's
e-
wrong.
exactly. Just because you had a terrible childhood, or just because you went through a very traumatic event, doesn't mean you get the free card to be a bad guy. Because no, you can still turn out to be a good person. It's your own actions define your own faith, okay? And then people were like, nah, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, we don't care if he's a mass murderer. We don't care if he tried to murder my family. We don't care if he run a huge ass company which is selling drugs and destroying people's life. We don't care it. But because he's hot.
I think
Are
you
you?
guys already know which drama this
Yeah.
is, by the
Yes.
way.
Like, are you being for real? Like, no. We don't care. Like, the guy didn't even like that girl. He was just obsessed with her because she had some cool powers and he wanted them. No, no, no. We don't care because he is hot.
Yeah, obsession like bad
Yeah.
like obsessive kind of
And
obsession, which is like unhealthy.
I feel like whenever like you're in love, you don't need to be obsessed with that person. Cause what the hell? Um,
Yeah, that's another thing that they show with villains, like
yeah.
being obsessive and manipulative is attractive just because
It's
the
it's
the actor is attractive.
Yeah, and I find it so weird because the people who are simping are teenage girls. And
And they romanticize that and have that standard for romantic relationships as they grow up.
yeah, because it is not fun in real life, okay? You are not going to live a life that hot is not going to feed you or help you when you are in the nursery home. Um, Fiction aside, let's talk about real life examples. Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer.
My goodness. My
Ted,
God.
oh, Ted Bundy. Oh my God. If you guys don't know this, Ted Bundy had a fan club of his own. Not because people
Yeah.
were curious about what he was thinking, why he actually killed so many women. No, because he is very handsome. I don't find him attractive.
Spoiler alert, Nidhi and I don't find him attractive at all. Okay. We don't know what those women saw in him. I know we have different types, but I just find it so bizarre that he was getting love letters
Yeah.
and like he had such a huge fan following of women despite them knowing what he's done and what he still kept on doing after being convicted and stuff too.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
during his trial, like when his trial was going on, women used to flock in the trials because and they used to just watch him and they used to hit on him and flirt with him in the ongoing trial. There are interviews of little girls and women saying that no, he doesn't look like a serial killer. I don't think he killed him or killed so many girls and women. Like, what do you mean he doesn't look like a serial killer? The point of being a serial killer is like it can be anyone.
You have to be able to mask yourself up with the general crowd so you are not suspected.
Yeah, and this is like so fucking crazy. And like and it absolutely blows my mind like how you can excuse a heinous crime just because you're good looking. Like what? Like, what is wrong with people? The Jeffrey Dahmer, recently when Netflix released, was it a movie or a series? I think it was a movie, right?
I think it, yeah.
Yeah, and people were going absolute crazy over this guy. Okay, the actor that they use, he was handsome, definitely, but people were romanticizing and making thirst trap and making insensitive jokes about Jeffrey Dahmer. There were people saying,
Oh
"I
wait,
wouldn't."
it was a TV series,
Oh,
sorry.
it was a TV series. Okay, cool. I never
Yeah,
watched it because I already knew about this case. Um,
same.
yeah, I don't generally don't want Netflix documentary because and TV series because they don't get it right most of the time. Um, anyways, and people were just making, I wouldn't mind if he eat me, even if he's that handsome. Like, are you okay? Do you need help? Like, I don't think you would like
Exactly.
eating, being killed and then being eaten. That is cannibalism, by the way. Do you know that? Like,
Like we get you finding the actor attractive and everything, but it's a disrespect, and it's like a huge blow on the victims and their families, making like,
exactly.
why you editing the actual guy, bro?
And I found it so weird that Netflix chose a very attractive actor to play his role when if you look at the real Jeffrey Dahmer's photo and all. I just don't get it. Like, why would you do that for marketing purpose and all? Because the victim's family and all, they were very disappointed. First of all, they didn't want a series, the TV series being made. Second of all, they choose like a very attractive actor. And third, what they feared happened. The audience fell in love with that character, which is weird. That guy is murdering people and eating them, and this
And
is
I
not
don't get
fiction.
how
This is like real
this is
life.
this is based on a true story, and just because they hired a good looking actor, you just completely ignored all of the mental instability that he showcased in the series, and you were just like, oh my god, good looking, I will marry. What? No, you won't marry. Shut up. What
He
are you
won't.
saying?
He won't even marry you. He was gay, by the way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so this was about men and like how people were just saying pretty privilege doesn't benefit men. Oh, well, you have all this example. Now you can't oppose our opinion because
You can't say anything. We have proof. We laid down the evidence.
yes. Oh, the second thingy, the mindset of I'm rich, hot, and pretty, so it doesn't matter. We started with the first audio where I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it is so fucked up and weird. Like, it's,
It makes you very problematic down the line, actually,
yeah,
having that mindset.
yeah, and not even just you, but you completely as a person from from a third person's perspective. It is so weird, and people are okay with that. People will excuse all your negative traits and behavior just because you're rich, hot, and pretty. Um, I am not okay. Like, let's take for example, Paris Hilton. I know now she's not in the limelight, like in the negative limelight, but because people have completely forgot about like she was a mean girl and how stuff. Because now because even at that point, people didn't question it now because she's rich, hot, and pretty, so it doesn't matter. It is just her. You
Yeah.
just have to bear it. That is how rich, pretty, hot girls are. Like, excuse me? What?
Also, this mindset makes you as a person very like superficial. Like then you don't have a personality at all, actually, beyond just being pretty and being known as the most attractive one and having all of these, getting all of these compliments on a daily basis. It becomes a part of you, and in a bad way, because then you identify with that, and then you don't pay attention to other facets of your life. Like you don't have many hobbies anymore. You don't have like other things that you are good at. You are just good at looking good, and then that's about it. Like there's nothing more to you as a person in your character.
Exactly. Also, when you're pretty, you get treated differently. than the normal crowd. And when I said differently, I mean you get treated decently. You get treated like you're an actual human being and not a trash
Yeah.
on the road. It's like people are, because people are always there to help you. People are always there to listen to you. People are always just down there to just be with you. Because why? Because you're pretty and us. And I'm not just saying the society or the people. Because all of us are a victim of this mindset, because we are humans, we are visual creatures. We gravitate to things and people that are attractive, that are aesthetically pleasing, that are easy on the eyes. Because if it wasn't the case, we wouldn't have survived. But it is important that we have an unbiased way of looking at things. But when it comes to pretty privilege, we are always biased to a person who is pretty. And in that, when we do that, we mistreat some people. And we don't even know this, because uh we are not doing this consciously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um and if you ask me, I feel like there are two types of people who would like actually understand how the effect of pretty privilege works.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first one is the people who were ugly and had a glow up, or grow up, we don't know, but glow up. And second B, like the second type, are the people who were quote unquote pretty gorgeous and then had a glow down. And bro, in this case, the glow down is just that they have aged, or they have gained weight, or they are pregnant or something like that.
Yeah, and like talking from a friend's example, falls under the category of the ones who like glow, who had a glow up or who grew up. So apart from growing up, he also like put a lot of his attention into going to the gym and eating healthier than he used to. And the way he's changed, not even like in within like a year and a half, he completely changed the way he looks, and he had a growth spurt, so his height increased too. And so he realized that most of the people who used to like put him on the sidelines and like just sort of keep him at an arm's distance away from them, they started giving him more attention now, and he's like, shit, I'm getting attention now because they find me attractive and good looking now. So now they value my opinion and they value my presence and they want to be friends with me now. But when I wanted to be friends with them, when they were also like just slightly better looking than me and just had slightly more social skills than me, for example, uh, they weren't ready to accept me. So what he realized was when he was quote unquote ugly, he didn't get the attention and the friendships and the compliments. But then after he had a glow up or a grow up, he realized how much more people cared about him and gave how much more attention he got. And it made him feel sad. I mean, he was happy that he was able to improve himself and his situation. But what made him sad was he had to reach the certain standard and be a certain way according to society just in order to be accepted and have friends.
Bro, I relate to your friend like so much, because I think you have seen my childhood photos and pic. Um so a few years back I was very chubby and I was very fat, okay? And when lockdown happened and I decided to lose weight and all, now I have decreased, like I have lost significantly. I've lost my weight significantly, and now I look way different than I used to look. Like, and I find it so weird. I mean, I am happy that I look different now, and still I'm still working on it and all. But I feel sad, okay, when I look back at my past self and I think about how people treated her, and when I look back like into my present self and I see how people are treating me now. The same people who were not being friends with me, who kept like one hand distance and like didn't actually care about my opinions and stuff. They're suddenly the one who is initiating conversations, suddenly the ones who are sliding up in my DMs and all. And I find it,
Exactly.
yeah, I find it so funny. Like, weren't you the one who didn't even like talked with me or like give me an attitude, and suddenly you want to be friends with me. Like, huh?
And another thing is, I don't know about you, but for him, it was something like, he has grown up and he has had a glow up, and now he looks better and closer to the societal standards, and so he has a lot of friends and a lot of people compliment him and stuff. But his mindset is still that of, his 14-15-year-old self,
Yeah,
where he was an
yeah,
insecure boy and he had to do something in order to be valid in the eyes of his peers. So because his mindset is still like that, he doesn't have amazing relationships with his friends just yet,
yeah,
because he still thinks that they'll end up leaving and abandoning
yeah.
him.
I don't relate to that because I have a pretty amazing and strong personality.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't think this will relate. This will relate
um,
with your story.
yeah,
So another thing, when we talk about pretty people, quote unquote pretty people having a glow down, uh, like Nidhi mentioned, maybe they just aged or gained some weight. Sometimes when it's like people who are our age, like teenagers becoming adults kind of situation, most of them, they just get some acne, bro. And they get acne, and then because they put so much importance and weight onto their own looks, they suddenly start internalizing that little bit of acne or like two pimples, man, that they've got on their face, and they're like, oh my god, I'm not attractive enough anymore. And so they end up doing a lot of these remedies just to fix it. It's a good thing that you're trying to fix it. Some people care about themselves, but if you are doing it because you don't want to be seen as ugly and oh my god, what happened to her face and all of that, then that's where the problem is. That's where the pretty privilege is like deep rooted in your head.
exactly. And for them, it's like a big shocker because they were used to the privilege. They were used to people treating them differently.
Yeah.
Now, suddenly, one after like one night, overnight, everything is like gone. I feel like if we look at it through pop culture, take Selena Gomez. Suddenly,
Yeah.
when she was problematic back then, people didn't care, Ithana, because she looked pretty. She is actually a very pretty woman. She still looks very pretty right now. But now, since she is on the curvier, heavier side, people suddenly start finding problems in every single thing. Every single thing that she does has a flaw in it. And
Even with Camila Cabello, because
yeah,
when she was in a relationship with Shawn Mendes and she gained weight, it was okay, because like, oh, gaining weight in a relationship is a sign that it's a healthy relationship. But the moment they announced their breakup and she had not lost that weight, even though she had said that she'd begun like regular exercise and everything, people still kept trolling her because, oh my god, like, she doesn't have a thigh gap anymore. Oh my god, she's put on so much weight on her belly. She looks like 4 months pregnant. Are you mad? Are you mad? That's not what 4 months pregnant looks like, first of all. The belly has to be firm looking, whatever, bro. So now that we've like looked at going from quote unquote ugly to having a glow up or growing up and being quote unquote pretty to becoming someone who's had a glow down, we also need to acknowledge that a lot of people uh, who have pretty privilege are given like are shown small gestures of like kindness, like just because you look good, oh, here's some free food for you, or you get invited to like a VIP event, which is a bigger gesture. That's not a small gesture. You can't call these small gestures,
yeah.
because like free food, bro, food costs a lot. Okay, even fast food isn't that cheap anymore.
And like getting free stuff, free food, and just random people offering to carry, help you, and getting collabs, influencers. Mm-mm.
Exactly.
And okay, this has happened to me. Okay, there was one particular day when I was looking very pretty. Okay, I had like dressed up nicely and stuff. Um,
Hmm.
and I brought this like 20 rupees ka drink or something, and I didn't know it was of 20 rupees. I just gave that uncle 10 rupees. Okay. And that uncle just smiled, took the money, and he didn't even say it. And later on, when I was in the train, I saw the package. I said, it was for 20 rupees. 10 rupees ka discount mila mujhe. Why? Because I
That's
was,
like 50%, bro.
yeah. And when the next time when I was looking like so like I was like barely holding myself up because I was so tired and all. And the next time when I took something and like I didn't had like I think I thought I gave him like 2 rupees when I was supposed to give him 5 rupees or something like that. That's like 5 rupees though. I am telling you, pretty privilege exists. Like it is so weird, like 10 rupees ka discount, and next time when I'm taking a rickshaw, when I'm looking like someone just tried to kidnap me, and that time 5 रुपए ये दो किधर 5 रुपया मेरा अरे भाई दे रहा हूँ मैं and okay, not just small gestures, like you said, these are also like not small gestures. A little kind gesture can make your day, but it pretty privilege also comes with bigger things, like always having people around you, always getting friends. Okay, this as when you're a little kid or a student, it is so important for your personal development that you get friends. And when you're pretty, it is very easy to make friends because people just naturally gravitate towards you. And never getting outcasted or sidelined because you don't fit into certain standards.
Yeah,
Um,
you basically make the standard for everyone else then.
exactly. Teachers, peers always assume good because here the halo effect, because of the halo effect. And if you
We
know,
love it.
yeah, I am going to use halo effect as a explanation like almost everywhere because I feel like it is something
It
that
makes so much sense.
yeah, and it is found everywhere in plenty. And pretty privilege and halo effect goes hand in hand, bro. Like with the teachers part, I think we discussed about this in the previous episode. Did we? Where I was explaining the halo effect with the example of a teacher favoring students or something like that.
I don't think so. But we have spoken about the halo effect and how it works with pretty looking influencers.
Yeah, yeah. We talked about the influencer part. Now, how it plays part when it comes to teachers and peers. Um, I'm not saying this as like for all teachers, but I think if you're a student and if you have, I feel like as students, all of us have experienced this at least once in our lifetime, where we see teachers and professors favoring the pretty student more than the person who is actually working hard. Like they will give all the attention to the pretty person. They will immediately assume that the pretty person knows everything. They immediately assume good about it. Like if you're pretty, if you're confident, oh, then you know everything. You are a good person. You are also smart. And you immediately assume it because of the halo effect. But if you're someone who doesn't um stand out in the crowd, or who is someone who is not conventionally attractive, people and especially teachers assume that you're a dull child. And I've seen this happen. And I feel like all of us are, even with our peers, people who are not necessarily our friends but our classmates, but they are very quick to judge and just assume what your personality is and how smart and dumb you are regarding how you look or based on
Just, yeah, like just one glance at you and they're like, oh, you look like you rob banks on the weekend. Excuse me, what is that supposed to mean?
yeah. And also, oh my God, getting validation and just getting worshipped all because you have won the genetic lottery.
Even between like siblings sometimes, bro.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
has better genetics than the other. My God, there's like a
Bro,
war.
relatives, neighbors, and friends, they treat you all, both of, and it hurts more if it is a sibling because that is someone you almost spend half of your life with, and you always get compared.
Exactly.
That is terrible, bro. And when I say being worshipped, I'm talking about models, actors, influencers. Even with when it comes to modeling, I'm not saying modeling as a job is easy. It is difficult because, like I said, I don't know much about it. But what I know is like you need to take lots of hard work and stuff. But people immediately assume it and look down on it because they just assume, oh, being a model, that means you just have to look good and all. And even with that, it's like, oh, you get money, you get paid for just for existing and looking pretty. Like, are you getting my point?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't understand that even in that you need to maintain yourself. So many top celebrities and well-known personalities, they have like a personal trainer. They don't go to the gym. They
Exactly.
have a specific
Yeah,
personal trainer because they have to maintain their figure. They have a specific dermatologist they go to because they have to maintain clear skin. It's not as easy as it looks, and it's not all like ribbons and balloons like they show
definitely.
on
And
screen.
and after some time, you don't see that person as a person. Their whole personality is just their beauty, what they're putting on
Yeah.
people. And people actually get worship. Even when we talk about influencers and stuff, people are just making thirst trap and just making videos and stuff, and they have hundreds of like and comment on it. And people are just like, and just commenting so many good stuff and all, and also bad because it's Instagram. It can't be Instagram without weird
I
corny stuff.
swear,
Um, but yeah,
it's on the daily.
yeah, it's
Also, when it comes to like pretty privilege, another thing that I've noticed is that because of the halo effect, you generalize people to be like smart and talented and everything, when actually they might not be as smart and talented as you think. But because of just because they look pretty, their mediocre work is appreciated. Like someone else might have
exactly,
worked harder than them and done a better
exactly.
job, but it's like just because they look pretty, their level of attractiveness fills up for the space which was not covered by their mediocre level of work.
I swear to God, you just get attracted, appreciated, even though your work might be mediocre. And if, bro, Instagram and real life is like the most prominent example here. If we talk about Instagram, let's talk about an influencer. Okay, this is a real influencer. I'm not trying to shame them or anything. But okay, there is this particular account named as Pottery Boy and stuff. Um, that guy makes pottery, like he makes pots and stuff and vases and stuff, and he is good at it. He's okay. It looks pretty decent. It is not wow wow, but he's okay. He's good in it, and he has like millions of followers. Millions. I'm literally saying millions of followers. Whereas a artist who is more talented than this person, like not even equally talented, more talented than this person, has like that person, the artist, he or she doesn't even have half the followers of this guy because they are someone who don't look that attractive. They're not
Yeah,
conventionally
they're
attractive.
not eye candies. So like
Yes.
I don't like watching their videos because I
Yeah.
don't it doesn't please my eyes. Excuse you.
Exactly. Like, are you actually appreciating that guy's talent or are you appreciating the way the guy look?
Yeah, because talent is like overlooked by a lot of people just because you're not attractive. Like they want you to be attractive and talented, otherwise you're not talented.
And like I said, you get appreciated for it, even though your work might be mediocre. And if we take a pop example, Madison Beer. I'm not saying her music is like bad. Her music is nice. I even listen to her music. I like her music. But she is not that great. She's okay. She's good. She's not that great. And again, it comes to the point. Do you think if she wasn't that pretty, the way she looked like, do you think she would have um if
She
do you
wouldn't
think
have risen to fame.
yeah, and do you think Justin Bieber would have actually noticed her and then recognized her and then put her up in the spotlight and met up with her? Do you think that would happen if she wasn't pretty? Like there's so many people posting covers of his song. Why only her? Why? Because she looked a certain way. She was pretty, she was marketable because she looked a certain way. And it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, like if she wasn't pretty, she wouldn't even, had this opportunity of, and because at that time, Justin Bieber was a star, okay? There was a crazy hype about him. Now it's not much, it's still there, but if we compare it to that era, that was his era. And if someone who is on the top of the trend is talking good, nice stuff about us, talking good about you, is bringing you on his concert, in bringing you in his YouTube, mentioning you on Tumblr, and asking who is this girl. Obviously, people are going to be curious, and this was for her. It was an opportunity, and it makes you question if the will a normal person who is actually more talented than her, will that person um like got this opportunity, would that person would get noticed and acknowledged by someone like this?
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not. Most
because
probably not.
we do say we appreciate talent, but when it comes to real life, that is like one the odds are different. Like if you're someone who is like very talented, but you're in a competition with someone who is not that talented but is like literally drop dead gorgeous, the odds of you getting picked over that person is very less.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what's sad because someone who is extremely talented but average looking compared to someone who barely has any talent in the skill that they are showcasing, but they are very attractive, conventionally attractive. They get the opportunity because we care a lot about visuals and how people look, and you
Yeah.
want to look good on TV. You don't want someone who's talented but not good looking. You want someone who has some talent, but their looks will make up for the missing talent.
Yeah. Also, I think the most dangerous thing about pretty privilege is that we let things slide because you are good looking, you are pretty or handsome, and justice leniency. Like we talked about the Ted Bundy cases. Even with the newer case, if you look at it, do you guys remember the TikToker case where like the TikToker uh did a hit and drive, like a teenage who was this guy was very popular in TikTok, and he like he was driving the car and like he hit a mother and her child, and then he fled away from the scene. And when he was actually caught and there was a trial going on and all, people were literally begging and putting a petition to not arrest him because he is too pretty.
To be in jail. Excuse you. What do you mean he's too pretty to be in jail?
Like, exactly. And there was this one more case where this girl murdered her mother or her friend, I don't remember. But again, people are like, she's too pretty. Yeah, that's not. And you know what is horrific? Okay, I don't know why my algorithm recommended this to me, but there is like a Instagram page where the name is like I think chicks, hot chicks who committed felony or something. So basically just
Oh my
snapshot
God.
of uh attractive women who are who got arrested for committing some crime, and the comments are so bizarre, like I can fix her, I want her, I don't care. Are you okay? And
No, they're not.
it's so like, come, these people were literally begging and putting up a petition for a guy who actually committed crime, but they were letting it slide because he's pretty. Like, huh? Huh?
Also, toning it down a bit from here. When we go back to comparing people by their looks, it's like if you are pretty, then being different means you're quirky. But if you are not conventionally attractive, then being different means, oh my God, you're annoying or you're weird or like,
Yes. Oh my
what are
God.
you even talking about, bro? Like, is she okay? Is he all right? What are they on to?
This, oh my God. And this is like so visible around. If you look in your class, you will get it. Okay? The person who is very pretty and has like a shit personality or like is like different. Okay, being different is not a crime, but what we are trying to say is like if you're different and if you're conventionally attractive, you're quirky. But if you're different and you're conventionally unattractive, you are weird. You get labeled as the weeb, you get labeled as annoying, you get labeled as weird.
You're a weirdo. Like, oh my God,
Exactly.
What is she saying?
And this is like so fun. And you know what? It is actually sad that how we are a victim to this too. We unknowingly participate in this. We don't even
Yeah, and
realize
then
it.
until you don't like consciously go back and trace back to what you thought or said about a certain person, you won't realize if you are practicing this. Oh my God,
Yeah.
this person is good looking, so they must be so and so, or this person is not good looking, so they are probably just like dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, and exactly this, this again brings up the point like, why are we doing this episode? We are not saying, oh, big, you're pretty. That means, oh, I should like discourage you, or I should just completely like hate you because you have pretty privilege. We are not talking about this. What we are talking about is like, we should be aware like what is happening, because we always have a biased opinion, and we should look at everything through an unbiased lens. And when we are aware about this, we question our behavior more. We are more aware what we are, saying and doing, and how we are approaching people and treating them.
Makes us
And
more self-aware.
yes, and now I would say pretty privilege is like a double-edged sword. And what I mean here is
Exactly.
like, just with advantages, there are disadvantages when it
So it's
comes to
like, oh,
this.
every advantage has an exception. These are
Yeah.
few of the exceptions.
Okay. The first something I can say is like, sexual harassment is justified. Okay, whether it be online or offline, because you can just justify because they ask for it, or I'm just complimenting them. Now here I'm not saying that conventionally less attractive people don't get harassed. They equally get, because most of the time harassment is not about how someone looks, it's more about the power. I don't think men give a shit about how you look. They are not picky. They see a woman, they will harass the fuck out of her. But it's more about, I have the upper hand. But since we are discussing pretty privilege today, we are going to focus on this. Because when we say it is justified, it is like, you can see it online. It just doesn't have to be offline. Even with online, minors get sexualized so much on the
Heavily.
internet.
They do. Heavily
They get
sexualized.
exactly. And people will just justify saying it like, oh, but they look mature for their age. Huh? Like, bro,
Especially when it comes to like child actors who are in the limelight, or like if anyone is into K-pop listening to this, you might see how they debut minors and then the fandom goes completely crazy. They're like, my God, what is this agency doing debuting a minor? Because now they know the amount of media exposure the minor is going to have, and there are a lot of like really questionable people
yeah,
on the internet. It's not good
yeah,
for the mental well-being of the minor as well as for the fandom in general. Like the image of the fandom gets ruined too.
exactly. And people will just justify their behavior here. They're like, yo, it's okay. It's like, what are you saying? Are you even making sense? Like, finally, you're 18. Like, bro, what?
Oh my God, you're talking about Nikki.
Yes.
Oh my God. So there was this woman who was like probably like 40 something years old, and she's like just a few years younger than Nikki from enhypen's mom. Okay, enhypen is a K-pop group, and Nikki is the youngest member. He's a 2005 born, and he turned 18 last year because 2023. So he turned 18, and that woman commented, oh, finally he's 18, like I'm so happy that he's 18. And the fandom started questioning her. They're like, what do you mean finally he's 18? Like, were you waiting for him to be an adult just so that you could say certain stuff or behave in a certain way about him and about him growing up? Like, if you put it into, okay, Kendrick's new song,
Yes.
the one where he goes probably is probably a
Kind of,
minor. So
kind of
it's
like a
a if
corn and probably a minor.
so, so when you talk about that, that's something that he's trying to hint, like
Yeah.
just because a minor has now become an adult doesn't mean you can like completely pounce on them. It is like an age factor that okay, they are like legal now, but what do you mean you were waiting for someone who can be the same age as your child? You are waiting for someone as old as your child to become legal. What are you, what you're just outing yourself, okay, by
Exactly.
saying something like
Yeah,
that.
and not only just minors, people of all age, you get unwanted attention because why? Because you're just simply existing. Like, not,
Yeah,
yeah, and it is so terrible and just like horrific, and you have to go through like so many, um, bad days and bad experience because of that. Again, we are not saying that conventionally unattractive people in the eyes of society don't experience this. All of them experience it, but we are just pointing this out. Also, not getting enough credit for your achievement. Okay, this is a big factor, especially for women. People say, oh, she must have slept her way up, and constantly getting
yeah,
told, oh, you don't have to work. Like, what? What are you saying? And this is so demeaning for a person's self-worth because people work hard, okay? And just
yeah, they
because
do.
someone is pretty or someone is a woman, you don't immediately have to assume that they didn't work for it. No, like, this is so sexist, first of all. Just, she must have slept her way up. No, brother, you might have doing that. You might think that is how society works, or you might want to do something like that, but no.
And then that also reduces that specific person who's being targeted. It affects his or her like self-esteem and their own capabilities and
Exactly.
skills, because they're like, my goodness, I put in so much work and effort into getting to where I am, and these people just credited to me looking good, and that's why people just gave me like a free pass into this very prestigious organization or this very high post that I'm at.
Exactly. And also, my second point, where you're people, when you're pretty, sometimes you're constantly told that, oh, you don't have to work or study. You're pretty enough for a man to marry, or, just be
Yeah,
a influencer or model or something.
that's said very often actually.
Yeah, I've seen this happen to a friend of mine, and I was horrified when she, told me this, and she said this so casually, and she didn't even realize it, how bad this is for her. And
You end up conditioning your child in that way
yeah,
as
and
a
then
parent.
then I realized, then it clicked to me like why she has such a low self-esteem when it comes to her own capability. Because when you say this, you start having you start doubting your capacity, your capability, your skills. And this leads to the dumb blonde syndrome that we currently, I think that is a very, I'm not talking since we are
That's
in.
very well known.
Yeah,
That's very well known
you
now.
simply assume that someone is blonde, therefore they are dumb, or like if someone is pretty, they don't have to work for the achievement, or they don't even need to work for it because someone else will take care for you. That is so
And
real.
if you are, as a parent, are conditioning your child to believe that, oh, as long as you look good, you'll have everything happen your way. You need not like hone any new talents or skills because you don't need anything. Being pretty is enough for you to get whatever you want in life. Then they are going to put all of their self-worth into their looks, and then the
Yeah.
moment their looks get a bit haywire, their self-worth is going to come crashing down.
Yeah, because like we said, most of the time when you're pretty, you don't need to have a personality. Like for us regular folks to be liked, we need to have a personality, we need to have a charisma, we need to have a charm to get people to like us. But when you're pretty, your looks are your personality. You don't need to have a extra X factor for people to like you.
Yeah.
Uh
That's almost like it's more than enough. Like you
it's
are
like the
already doing a
Yeah,
lot.
it's like the Hrithik Roshan and Shah Rukh Khan thingy. Like I'm not like if you compare Shah Rukh Khan and Hrithik Roshan is conventionally much better looking than Shah Rukh Khan, but we love Shah Rukh Khan more because he has a charisma around him. He has a charm. He has a personality. Even with Akshay Kumar and all, there is a reason because he's a superstar because of his personality and his charisma and his charms. But when it comes to Hrithik Roshan, he doesn't need to have a charisma or a charm. He can be the main lead just by his looks. His looks are enough to make him a star. But for others,
Yeah.
you have to work. You need to have an extra X factor. And like you were saying here, when you're constantly, getting told that you don't have to work, you don't have to study, someone will take care of you or something like that, you start doubting your own capacity and you conditioned yourself into believing that you don't need to do all this and you are bad at all this stuff. The only thing that you're good as is being a good looking person, and that is so harmful in the long run, because when, like you said, when you're old or when something goes wrong and you no longer look like your past self, you have nothing about you that you are proud of, or something that you know you can, like, what I'm saying, a skill or something about you that you actually feel confident about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like this was all for today's episode for Pretty Privilege. If
Yep.
if you guys have any experience relating to this situation, like, let us know in the comments, or any thoughts and ideas. So we like reading all of them. So please type them out. Yeah, that's it. Bye bye.
So that was it for today. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Gooseberry.
If you're listening to this episode on Spotify, go check out our YouTube channel called as Gooseberry Podcast.
If you're watching this episode on YouTube, go check out our podcast on Spotify called Gooseberry.
Follow us on Spotify and YouTube so you're always on time for every new episode we release. Follow our Instagram for sneak peeks of the episode, behind the scene footage, fun reels, engaging story, and a whole lot more. Because I'm very funny, guys. So, like, please.
Yeah, she manages our Instagram. For any business emails and inquiries, email us at gooseberrypodcast, biz, at gmail.com with the subject line quote-unquote business mail. All emails with subject lines other than this will be deleted immediately. To send us any feedback, email us on the same ID with the subject line season, insert number, episode, insert number, feedback mail. All emails with subject lines other than this will be deleted immediately.
This was Gooseberry, your guide to understanding the fascinating interplay of psychology, trends, and the essence of being alive.
This is Sonia,
And Nidhi.
signing off.